Good afternoon. Since I haven't done any art recently, and I haven't been practicing songs consistently, so I don't have anything new to share concerning that. Let me just show you a couple of things I did find. I'm going to put this up for sale. Uh, it's a collection of spools that I found in the dumpster, and I seriously doubt I'm going to get anything for it. I'm going to put it up for $10 on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, what have you. But I guess in some ways I'm pretty damn tough. In other ways, I'm a little too sensitive. And I see stuff like that, and my first emotion is, I guess, a kind of melancholy regret that somebody who collects those, I want to say, stupid little things, but they must have been important to somebody to buy that whole nice wooden rack to hang on a wall to display their geez, what do you call them? I just said the word. The things you wear, thimbles, thimbles. God, long COVID, it's messing with my vocabulary. Anyways, I just see something like that, and I have a pang of regret for whoever threw that out because of whatever reason. Also, I found some wire, so I'm adding to my scrap collection. So I guess that's long enough for a short. But here's the long. I'm going to split this into two so I can make a short and a long out of this because the long videos, they just do not get the kind of views that I'm hoping for, which is, I'm not trying to be greedy, but when two people watch a video, it's like, why am I even wasting my time? Why am I even burning carbon to, put this stuff on the internet if two people are watching? Really? I'm out here entertaining two people? But I thought I would impart this story since I don't have the art or the music to share. I'm going to tell you a story. It was this time in my life. I was in Boulder, Colorado, and I was in the park there, right off Broadway, the one with the band shell. And it was Labor Day weekend, and they were setting up art booths. They were having an art fest that weekend, and I was on the table all the way down the way at the south end of the park, drinking with a bunch of Indians. Seriously, they were all Arapaho and I think some Navajo, but they would sometimes gather in Boulder and drink and cause havoc, mostly among themselves. But if anybody wanted to join in, hey, come on. And I was there drinking with them because that's where the booze was. And after a while, since we were all out there pretty much begging, I don't know if anybody had any money, but I know I didn't. And I just started walking down the line and asking every artist setting up. They're setting up canopies, they're pulling out paintings and sculpture and what have you. And I just would walk from booth to booth and say, hey, you need any help setting up? And one after the other, it was no, 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 no. And then there was this guy walking by on the sidewalk, heard me, and he turned and he said, "You're looking for work?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "We're setting up the carnival." He told me where the parking lot was. It was just down the way. It was somewhere between the park and Liquor Mart. I remember that. Anyways, he said, "Be there at 6 p.m." And he said, "Have you been drinking?" I said, "No." He said, "Okay, be there at 6." I went back to the table. I told them all, "Hey, I got work." And I had a decision to make. I know what I am like. So I either kept drinking and went there sloppy and take a chance on just getting kicked out before I even started, or stop drinking right there and then and see how sober I could get over the next few hours. So by the time I started, I was already starting to detox some. And, but the best thing you can do when you're in that condition is some hard physical work. Drink a lot of water, do some hard physical work. It's not what you want to do, but I tell you what, it does make a difference because just laying about, you're just feeling all those feelings of the ugly sensations just washing over your body, and you're miserable. If you're working, at least you're distracting yourself from everything you're going through. So, and the guy who had asked me if I wanted to work, he said, "I'll give you 250 if you do the whole weekend." They were spending the whole weekend in Boulder. That was one of their big cities in their itinerary. And I did the whole weekend, and then I had to fight for the 250. He didn't want to give it to me, bastard. I tell you what, man, carnies, they're all the same. Anyways, I finally got it. But yeah, we worked all night long. They put me on the tilt-a-whirl, and for anybody who knows, and for those of you who don't, most of the rides are trailer rides. They're either completely built on the trailer, or they're structured either totally or at least partially, usually mostly on the trailer, with just like stairs going up, or I can't remember. It's been so long, but I know this: the tilt-a-whirl, every single last piece of that ride comes off the trailer. It's built from the asphalt up. Everything is made of steel, and except for the arc clips, which holds it all together, everything is heavy. So I worked all night long, and then it was like, well, you got an hour off, and then you got to run the rides. So I had an hour to sleep, which of course I laid down and I couldn't sleep. And then an hour later, I'm there running the ride. I can't remember what they called it, but it's the dinosaurs that they rotate and they spin, and they spin by, they've got like a steering wheel mechanism in the middle, which is stationary, but if you grab it and pull, you can make the dinosaur spin around it. And kids love that ride. But I had a couple of friends walking through, and I said, "Hey, you want you want a free ride?" And they're like, "Yeah." It was this girl I knew, um, and I can't remember if it was a boyfriend or just a friend. Anyways, he was a mutual friend of ours. I mean, I knew both of them, but they got on, and he went nuts. She was screaming. He was turning that dinosaur around so quick, man. But anyways, we finished up the weekend there. From there, we went to Colorado Springs. I'm trying to think where I got off finally. We went from Colorado Springs up into the mountains, and I can't remember the city that we. Oh, this is funny. This is funny. Uh, where the carnival was being split in two. We went to this one place, real nice place, real nice little old-fashioned town, like a lot of those mountain towns are. And they were having a strawberry festival, so there's just people like all over the place, out and about. And I'm walking down the street, and one of the guys from the carnival comes up to me and he says, "Hey, did you take my money from the cat house?" And I said to him, "I've never even been in the cat house." And all of a sudden, he just throws a punch. This punch goes over my shoulder and hits the guy who was standing behind me. I didn't even know he was back there. That's the guy who actually stole the money and accused me of stealing the money. So he punched that guy. But yeah, I'd never even been in a cat house. I wasn't. So he had stashed some money in the cat house, and the guy behind me had stolen it and then accused me. Carnies. Anyways, they split up. Uh, they split up the carnival, and half of it went to Leadville. So I went with the half that went to Leadville, the highest incorporated city in the contiguous United States. Might be in all of the United States. I really can't remember, but I do remember after we got done setting up, I walked into town, which was quite a distance, but I walked into town, went to the bar, and sat there and drank, and they had all kinds of. It was an interesting place. Talk about, I guess it used to be a mining town. I think that's why they called it Leadville. I can't remember. I could look it up, but not while I'm making this video. So you can look it up. Anyways, yeah, I went to town and it was an interesting, really old fashioned saloon. I mean, like something out of the 1800s. But from Leadville, we went to, I can't remember where we went from there, from Leadville and the other place. We went to another city up in the mountains. And I wanted to go to, well, first I wanted to buy an acoustic guitar. So when we got to that city, um, we had like maybe an hour off before we needed to start setting, or we had set up. That's right, we had set up, and we had like an hour off before we needed to start running the rides. Well, I had money, I got that $250 and hadn't spent much of it. So I walked into town to see if I could get an acoustic. And I found a music shop and I bought an acoustic for $200 and I walked back and I was late and the guy was all pissed off at me. I had bought an acoustic and I bought probably a pint, but anyways, enough to get the job started. And I walked back to the carnival and I was late and the guy was all pissed off. But we're talking a few minutes and it's like, come on, you know how many hours you put in for the measly amount of money you get? That's that's for the ride jocks. Now the stick men, they make good money. Those are the guys that are in all the little wood and canvas booths where it's like the coin tosses and the ring tosses and all the games that you're playing for money. Well, they're making money because all we're doing is standing there collecting tickets. Nobody's giving us money. They're giving the stickman money, and they split it with the stickman manager. I can't remember the Carney speak for that, but anyways. So I'm making like next to nothing, and they're all pissed off at me because I'm a few minutes late. Well, I've been drinking. They didn't realize it, but by the time I got to the ride and was starting to let kiddies on, I was getting a little more and more intoxicated because I guess I had drank enough and it was starting to catch up. It takes a moment to filter through all the organs and everything and go up to the brain. But, anyways, one of the guys from the carnival comes over and says, yeah, we got some complaints about you. Uh, you need to go sleep it off, man. You can't do this. And actually, I think they had already caught me drunk once and said, if this happens again, you're out of here. So I got kicked out of there. So I took my guitar and I started heading towards where I knew Utah was. Just start going west. But oh man, what is a city in the middle of Colorado, up in the mountains? It'll come to me. But I was in that city, and I hooked up with one guy who wanted to go to the gathering. Also, that's what I was going to do. It was getting close to July 4th, and the gathering was being set up. I knew in Utah in the Uinta Mountains. So I was just going to go there and hang out, see what that was like. I'd never been to a gathering. I'd heard about them, never been to one. So that's what I ended up doing, and that in and of itself is a whole nother story. But I thought I would just tell you about my my carnival misfortune, I guess. All in all, it got me. And this is another thing. I had a problem with a woman down there in Boulder. So when that carney came along and asked me if I wanted to work, I asked him, "How long are you going to be in Colorado?" And he said, "We're not going to be here long." "Why? You need to get out of state?" Yeah. He said, "Yeah, well, come on with us." They stayed there way longer than I thought they were going to. And I didn't know what my situation in Colorado was, but I wanted to get out of there before I ran across a Leo and found out what it was. So, yeah, when I got kicked out of the carnival, I got a ride out of state, went to Utah, and hung around the gathering for about 20 days, I think. Anyways, all right, thanks for watching.